I was thinking fear is an economy. People spend a lot of money living in fear. And it's because they come from a position of fear of lack, of, I don't know, starving, death. That's a big one for a lot of people. They're afraid of death. I heard when I was taking the Dale Carnegie Public Speaking and Human Relations course. There on Broadway, 1750 Broadway, Vancouver, British Columbia. It was through the Norm Wright Institute that he was redoing the Dale Carnegie How to Win Friends and Influence People guy, but do it in a way for business people and politicians and whatnot or anybody really, and I was anybody, but I was a professional who couldn't get a degree because I just didn't want to go that route. So I went and got my career through doing courses like this, if you will. And this Dale Carnegie public speaking course really saved my ass. And I became pretty good at it. So I became an instructor of life skills and so on. But, people have a sense of lack all the time, that we don't have enough water, right? Or we don't have enough oil. We don't have enough, I don't know. We just never have enough. We don't have enough fish. You got to get a license, and you can't do it in certain areas because you'll stop all the fish from having babies or something. I don't know. But yeah, they give us a feeling of lack of food, right? But I think when you get into your higher self, you'll begin to see the world as I do. That it's free and you can't starve. I mean, you can if you think you're gonna. Then that's all you'll do is curl up and die, I guess. But when you reach your higher self, you just look around and you realize we've lived here on Earth for a long time and there's a lot of food around. In addition to, I think there's fish everywhere. There's fish in the ocean, there's fish in the lakes. I know you're going to talk about your fear of pollution. Well, who's putting the fear out there? How are the fish living? Right? But more than that, there is an animal kingdom out there, and there's, as far as I know, we're allowed to hunt for less intelligent beings, like domesticated animals we can domesticate, and I don't know. I don't mind meat at all. I have no qualms about it. So, but there's meat everywhere then, isn't there? Isn't there? There is. There's buffalo roaming and elk and caribou and reindeer Eskimos have been eating that for a long time. But we only think about reindeer as Santa Claus's guides. I don't know. But look at the meat in the world that's free. And also, if you ever watched Little House on the Prairie, maybe you saw the episode where the women were having to, mow the wheat down, free wheat. It's free wheat everywhere. Everywhere. And it's a fruit with seed. So when you beat it down, it turns into a flour. And you can bake bread. So I saw this episode where the women were all beating down this wheat, free wheat, with their brooms on this big canvas thing and creating flour. So, before import-export days and all that, people were independent and survived somehow. I don't know. But what about the berries, the free berries out there? I mean, when I was a child, I was wild berry picking all the time. Blackberries were free. Raspberries were free. Crab apples were free. They were growing everywhere. And I don't know where apples come from. Aren't they free? They used to be, but it became a forbidden fruit. But people have a sense of lack and fear around that. And I just wanted to help you see that look at the oil. I mean, oh my gosh, we're made of oil. We're made of oil. And water too. Oceans above and below. There's fresh water in the interior and lakes and everywhere. Fresh water, salt water. There's salt. And we are crystallite. And we need as much sodium as we can get. But I've had the opportunity to, isolate and take care of my health for the last several years. And it was a living nightmare, really, which I knew all along I would forget the pain. And I am. I'm forgetting it. I still have a few little issues in my back, and this overwhelming weakness, I just think it's the universe's way of having me prepare, which I am prepared emotionally and mentally and physically, taking care of my own health my way. My skin is like a baby's. My hair is like a baby's. But it was falling off the bones without any muscle. So, I haven't had any exercise. And that's what I'm going to do next is physiotherapy. But, I'm going to do my own. we have to learn to think of what we can do for ourselves, you know, and not feel like we have to, you know, be dependent on other people or institutions. You know, one of the last drugs I took was a forever drug, I was told, $9 a month. And I just thought, no, I don't, I was on it for 30 years. I just threw it away. And I'm taking the risk, but that was a year ago, right? So I didn't drop dead. But, you know, you can be convinced and then walk into a situation and make it happen. You know, if you believe in your outside sources so much, you know, you just are convinced they know what they're doing, then by all means do whatever they tell you to do and follow the protocol. I had to do it a new way, and it works for me. And I'm here to talk about it. I have to believe, and I've believed all along, that when I was visited by these beings and my deceased son in 2016, they did something with me, my body. You know, it was a real alien event, I'll tell you that. It was way out of this world. And it wasn't anything, I'm not into that sci-fi. But it's only because my son was there that I knew it wasn't a dream. It was too lucid, too real. And the ramifications of my psychic ability afterwards, my ability to see through the lies that we live here, the delusion. Shit, I wrote a book in 2011, and Evil Eyes, the daughter's memoir. I don't get any money for that. Anything I've ever done, somebody else has taken credit and taken the money. I don't have respect for money, I let it go. But anyway, it's still available. But they act like it just doesn't sell at all. You know, or they act like my videos don't go anywhere at all. It's to really discourage the light, you know, because when I read my own story, I think it was like 6 months ago or something, when my back was broken, I had to sit a certain way. I started reading this book, my book, and then I thought, because it's been a long time since I wrote it, and so much has happened since, that I barely recognized myself. I thought, who is this little munchkin who appears to be like a wise little leprechaun since she was born, and kind of bossy, kind of, I knew right from wrong. And I didn't lose that. I was a sleepwalker too. So I had all sorts of little weird things when I was a kid, and flashes and music that, any good doctor would just label me, drug me, put me away, and would be done with me. But if they had another half a brain, the right brain, their own brain back, they'd want to help me explore this. Right? Like, why can't we talk? Why can't you put your data with my intuition and maybe we could get somewhere. But I have to prove everything before it goes anywhere, and I'm not prepared to do that. I can't even get an interview. People are so afraid of my story. They really are, guys. It's fear. Fear. And because it's shocking what I have. I went into PTSD over it. Listen, I was raised here, and I was normal. Like, I let everything go that was intuitive. I didn't pay attention. It was too risky. And I didn't believe in myself ever, anyway. But Trevor, when he died, he insisted. He wasn't shutting up. And since 2003, I knew there was a spirit world sitting right on my bed, playing games with my electricity. And I had nothing else to do, and I belonged to some grieving parent support groups around the world. And a lot of them had the same type of experience, about 10%. And they recommended books. So I started to get to know other people that were like me. And I recommend people do that. Whatever you're into, and you're fascinated by and want to research more of or something, whatever your subject, maybe get involved in groups and communities that are like-minded, because that's what I'm going to do. I mean, I've been focused on the general public, and I don't think it's not working for me. It doesn't work for me. I'm not here to take prisoners or beg or recruit for anybody. But I would love to share my story. And so that's what I'm going to do, is look around for paranormal, I guess, type of groups and communities who won't, doubt me. But I have to be honest, there are liars and tricksters that are miserable, and all they want to do is trip people up and create chaos for others by pretending to be people they are not. Like pretending to have near-death experiences, come back with a completely stupid message. That doesn't do anything for anybody. And so they get people wasting their time. Oh, there's no time, so there's no wasting of time, but they get people focused and imagining lies again. It's like the New Age movement. It's fear-based again. where you got to be thinking positive, or you're going to law of attraction. As soon as you have a bad thought, it's going to hit you in the face like a baseball. And so you fear your own thoughts. But maybe you should have some of those thoughts and look around the world. Because in my experience, the positive thinking movement was extremely selfish, entitled, and intolerant of poor people and anyone who suffers. Because in their eyes, they had it coming because they didn't think positive, and that's all they gotta do. You know? And they are already starting off on a good foot. Maybe they already have good jobs or education or husbands or wives or whatever, but mostly it was women that joined the Abraham movement. And again, the name is Abraham, right? And, you know, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to follow men from the past when we're living in the here and now? Don't you want to evolve yourself? I was looking in the mirror, you know. My whole life I felt very ugly. Very, very freaking ugly. And my grandmother had the same issue. It was dysmorphia like you wouldn't believe. And because, trust me, it was bad dysmorphia. Because I can see myself today, right? Because I look like that again today. My hair looks like a... everybody else would see an old lady, trust me, I know. But I don't. I see a little 18-year-old. Same undyed hair, not all frizzy. My hair looks amazing. And good skin. And my body, like, it is perfect. Saved my lungs. Saved my heart. I have poison in me. And that's what I'm getting rid of. And I'm doing it my way. I'm using my imagination. I got so much fluid. Like, it's like cups of fluid come out of me. And what I'm doing is letting it come out, and I'm not regurgitating this crap. So I just have a bucket beside me when I need to let the water out. It's just water I'm coughing up. Just foamy water. It's really weird. But I feel like it's the end of, like, I had chaos in my body for the last 4 years because You know, I feel, I feel, it could be anything really. I'll just leave it at that. But you have to believe in your own ability to heal. Because if you don't believe in your body's ability to heal, it won't heal. You'll walk yourself right to death with whatever you imagine, you know? And so I imagine the opposite. And I'm not afraid of belching, because they said I'm in heart failure, right? And, well, that was 2 years ago. And, yeah, I'm still weak, very weak, but I can feel like it is in baby steps. I'm going baby steps forward. Right now, I don't have the pain I had. The fluid is leaving my body. They told me I had rheumatoid arthritis, and that's fluid in your joints and whatnot, right? Well, the fluid I'm letting come out of me. So whether it's from heart or rheumatoid, whatever, they don't know. I don't know. All I know is if it's coming out of me like a sneeze or a cough or just too much saliva, I'm letting it come out. And I'm just, it's kind of gross to share that, but what else am I going to do? My maiden name is Groseclose, and I do talk about inappropriate things said on my report cards. So nothing's changed here. But it's for my intention is just to be real with you. Because, I do care. And I know I come across different and arguably defensive at times. And I have to apologize for that. That's not how I want to be. And when, I'm not, I am really funny. I am fucking funny. I was just in the bathroom. I had a bath tonight. And after, I scrubbed my face down, did my hair, had my hair in rollers. I just use rollers for about an hour. Take them out, and the hair is so soft. Well, I looked at myself in the mirror, and I said, you know what? I lost my teeth. That's the truth. That's why I list here. I have false teeth, but they're not comfortable. I don't like fake shit in my mouth. So I don't care how I sound. It's the way it is. But you should see how it looks. I look like a 18 to 20-year-old with no teeth. And so, but I like it, and I remember a song I used to sing when I was a teenager. I loved this song because it's the way I felt about myself as ugly. But this song, I don't even remember who sang it, but it was Funny Face. Do you remember that song? Funny face, I love you, funny face, I need you. These are the sweetest words I ever heard. that with no teeth in the bathroom with my newly soft hair and soft skin and look at myself, the way I see myself without judgment, without, the heavies, without the uglies, without seeing the ugly. I can't see it. And when you're there, it is such a higher place, my friends. And I hope you get there so that you too can erase the judgments that anybody held against you. Because I'm telling you, we feel it. And then we begin to act it out like we are ugly, and we hide. And we won't, really associate because we feel ugly. And if you're one of those people that, maybe don't feel that great yourself, but you feel better if you put someone down. And be honest, this is what people are doing. They're feeding off other people because they feel miserable. I can't tell you how much envy and jealousy is in my own family with my two sisters. It's just, they could have had an older sister here. They're 10 years, 8 years younger than me. And they looked up to me. And it was their envy and jealousy and judgment. When you're envious and jealous, you see what you want to see. Do you understand? In judgment, you see what you want to see. And I was always mocked by my husband and his friends and my mom. And so they pick up on that. And if you're the mocked person, after a while, people see that. That's all they don't see you as pretty. They lose respect for you. I felt that my whole life. I would walk into a room of people I did not know at all, none of them. And there'd be one of my family members there buzzing around talking about me. And then suddenly the room would go cold on me. Happened to me all the time. If people can't control you, they're going to control how other people see you. And it's a weapon of mass destruction. And I'm going to fair warn anyone who has taken a habit of judging anyone for anything, because you don't know the whole story. There may be a bit or a part or the whole darn thing that you don't know. And you could be taking action and using your eyes to hurt someone, by looking at them with, your eyes, to me, demonic eyes. Once you're judging, you've got demonic eyes. It's a terrible thing to do. And I am talking about it because I'm confident about it now, that judges, you're creating You're creating that. And people feel it, even though they may not appear to feel it now. So if you're sitting there talking to a coworker or a family member, so yakking away, having a nice conversation, and all of a sudden one of you is just sitting there, kind of eyes glazed over, and they appear not to be listening to you, they're not. You know, they don't. What you say does not register. They're thinking about how terrible you are and how they have to put up with listening to you. And their body language tells me that too. I'm speaking as somebody who has been severely gaslit by 3 jealous women in my world. My mother, my half-sister Charmaine, and my half-sister Sandy, both who were my bridesmaids at my wedding. And the mocking is right there in my wedding photos already. You know, I was too easy because I am innocent and everything does go over my head. I don't get sarcasm. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. And I think people are serious when they're not. And that has got me in trouble so many times. There is a line, you know, eventually our lives will catch up with us. I didn't say lies, I said lives, Lives. And they all have a theme. You know, we're repeating our theme. It's an individual theme. You know, your theme isn't anything to do with your kids or your parents or any workers or anybody. Your theme is your theme. What you're suffering today, you probably suffered all the time. One way or the other, you know, it's like in my world, it's like severe early childhood trauma, followed by abandonment by men, followed by losing my child and being unable to raise them, and having no power or control. All of my lives. So I'm pretty sure I'm no different than anyone else. I know that. I've said that from the beginning. I'm not here to say I'm special. I'm here to give you my hand. And I want to teach. You know, I want to see your eyes brighten up and see the world with new eyes, and yourself more than anything first. That's where we're going to begin, right? And I was talking about tools and life skills that I'm going to teach here because I get so much joy out of doing that. And I was doing it as a child, you know, playing school. with my siblings and anybody who'd tolerate me being the teacher. I'd set up the class. I'd steal supplies from my classroom and bring it home. To be honest, I just wanted to teach. I didn't want to sit in class. But I had siblings that were a lot younger, and they had to listen. And they ended up doing extremely well in school. Of course, they knew everything before they got there. So they were lazy and they didn't go to the primary. I had it all. Like, they were always sick, too. Other spoiled brats is what they were, to be honest. They were my mother's second family. And I asked her, why do you let these kids just roam around like this all the time? And she said, well, I'm going to raise them different, not going to raise them strict. See how they turn out. They're wild. One of them's dead and he's only 53. The other one's a total sociopath. Total nightmare for me. And really, a real sociopath, like a criminal. White collar. Went and got educated, became, devious, covert. Was able to manipulate books and so on. But she's got all the family and friends and my granddaughter. It's easy to destroy someone and alienate them. But if people think they're getting away with something, they're not. They're not. You see, I can't feel them anymore or even see them. And obviously I was transplanted physically 3,000 miles away from them. I couldn't figure out why. It's because I couldn't detach emotionally. And if the writing is on the wall and nobody's talked to you in 15 years and still don't seem to want to, and the only person you can depend on is the one person you don't want to depend on. Being put in these positions has been the way women have been put for thousands of years. And then she's demonized for accepting money from, I'm not a prostitute. I wouldn't have sex with the man. No. I sent him to jail. But when he came out, he was reformed. And he did his research. And 2%, less than 2%, repeat if they're caught. It's shocking. It's hypnosis that get men into it, guys. It's hypnosis, and I recognize that. And the shock of, getting caught and, the reality of the humiliation, feelings, and family breakdown on both sides, and then prison for 2 years. It was too much. He already only had the mind of an 11-year-old himself. And that's what happens to men. You know, they have these young minds and they think, you know, they don't stay in their lane anymore because we're being introduced to graven images on TV and allowed to accept this kind of thing. And we normalize the unacceptable. And our children are shocked. Our children know better. But they have no voice. And so they become, you know, little versions of their parents, if not worse. Then the parents see themselves and the kids and they go, oh my God, my kid's horrible. Well, love, unconditional. Instead of sending them somewhere else, you know, show them whatever they're drawn to. I wouldn't even give them a name until you knew, you know, who they are, what they want. Childhood games are a clue. I used to play actress and teacher. I felt like an actress. I felt like I belonged in Hollywood. I felt like I was Petula Clark's sister. And all of the blondes. Like, it was really weird. It's like my dad, right? Like, I felt he was born in Star City, Saskatchewan. And I feel like he is Elvis Presley's twin brother, but died. The consciousness. And that's my background, you know, I've told you that I firmly believe that the spirit of Jesus was also the spirit of King James and Elvis. If you want to just stop there, that's fine, but the similarities are too much. And the theme with the mother is too much. Like Gladys Love also died at 46, like Mary in the 16th century there. I was able to put nobody else did. I haven't ever seen anybody come up with that. Sounds pretty wild to me, but it makes perfect sense. If you have researched reincarnation, if you have studied further into the story in scriptures, which I did. Oh my God, spent a lifetime looking for Jesus. Dragged my son around looking, every denomination. Was in the Mediterranean and in Ephesus, Turkey. You know, my story was unconscious to me, but I knew it, you know, like we know. And what you do unconsciously, I wouldn't beat myself up if I were you, because I think you did it for a reason. I think you did everything for a reason. But if you're miserable, this is a problem. And I urge you to reconsider whatever you're doing. And especially if you're blaming or you're being a victim. That is just, you know, you're watering something. You're being of lack, you know. And that means you don't have anything, no power inside of you. So I had a company, my first business was called Steps to Success Career Planning. And I had, like 8 or 10 steps. I think I'm going to do that for this channel if you want it. Give me a like or a comment. I think it'll be like 12 steps to success, to your higher self. And it's fun stuff, the right brain. It becomes magical when you put it into a practice. Meditation, goal setting, writing affirmations that make you feel better. And when you feel better, you are better. Aren't you? I am. So I feel better when I use my life skills, my survival, how to have boundaries and not feel ashamed of having boundaries with people. And how to communicate, right? This is all life skills I taught throughout my career. And you'd be surprised how many people don't know. When you set a goal, you sit down and you focus on what you want, 72% chance you're going to achieve that within a year. Whether or not you do anything, just write it down and be specific. And if you water it in your mind, that's great. Maybe all the power to you. But for me, I didn't have to. I needed $4,000 to pay off my hydro bill and my student loan back in 1983. I had finished a business course. And I didn't want that, so I was getting collection calls, and it was worrisome. But I just needed $4,000. So I went to a workshop. I got free life skills education myself. I went to my church, had this Dr. Tom Hopper on Wednesdays, these little Bible study things. Well, he was coming to talk about goal setting. And I went. And I took him literally. And I went home and I wrote down, what I needed. And the 2 that pop up right now, I wrote 10 things. They all came. I got exactly $4,000. And I met a man, my son's father. I had that on the list. I needed a balance, and I knew it. I couldn't do it alone. And they even wrote down what I wanted in a man. I want him to have had an education and be reliable and responsible and love my kid and blah, blah, blah. And trust me, he was all of those things. I met him just months later after writing that. It's like magic, right? But you got to be careful. I didn't have certain things on my radar. And I forgot about the sense of humor part. And respect, right? I didn't ever think about you want a guy who respects you. So you gotta use your heart for what you really want. Because you're supposed to get what you want in our universe. No kidding, you are. You're entitled. And the world's free. And there's an abundance of food everywhere. And shelter, too. And you don't have to live like a refugee. Unless this is all you have, or this is all you think. You will manifest what you think. You will walk right into it. So this is me reaching in and teaching a few more tools in this few minutes. And I hope I help. I'm not here to hurt, but I am here to help change people's minds. I don't want anyone to feel like, they're left behind when you can easily reach your higher self. Right here, right now, get started. Write notes. Take my course. It's free. I don't want anything except your respect. Thank you very much. From Quebec.